My guest is Ambassador Alan Baker, international law expert and former Israeli ambassador to Canada. Ambassador Baker, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Why does Israel insist that it is not a foreign occupying power, but has the distinct rights to the territory?
International law defines occupation as one power occupying the lands of a foreign sovereign. In Israel's case, Israel is not occupying any foreign sovereign's lands. Israel entered the area in 1967 and took over the authority to administer the land from Jordan. And Jordan was never considered to be a sovereign in the area. In actual fact, Israel and the Jewish people have got claims that go far back into history, and anybody who really reads the Bible can appreciate the fact that there are very solid historic and legal bases to the claim of Israel with respect to the territories. And therefore Israel considers the territories not to be occupied, not to be Palestinian, but they're in dispute. We appreciate that the Palestinians also have claims with respect to the territory. Israel considers that its claims are far better based and better documented than any other claims, but Israel is committed to conduct negotiations with the Palestinians in order to find a permanent settlement to the issue. The Jordanians, who basically occupied the territory after the 1948 war, annexed it, but this annexation was never really recognized or acknowledged by the international community. At a later stage, the King of Jordan voluntarily gave up any Jordanian sovereignty or claim to the territories to the Palestinian people. And so the Jordanians came and went, and the issue remained an issue between the Israelis and the Palestinians.
Why does the international community then constantly refer to the Palestinian territories?
This is a complete fallacy, and it has absolutely no legal or political basis. There's never been a Palestinian state as such, and therefore the territories have never belonged to any Palestinian entity. There's no international agreement, there's no contract, there's no treaty, and there's no binding international resolution that determines that the territories belong to the Palestinians. But in actual fact, even the Palestinians themselves, in the agreements that they've signed with Israel, have acknowledged the fact that the ultimate permanent status of the territory is to be determined by negotiations. Therefore, even the Palestinians accept the fact that this is not Palestinian territory, it's disputed territory that has yet to be settled. If the local population own land, then an administering power isn't allowed to take the land or use it. But if the land is not private, the administering power can use the land and enjoy the fruits of the land for as long as the area hasn't been finally determined with respect to its sovereignty. And so Israel justifiably can use land which is not private land, which is public land, for establishing settlements, as long as these settlements don't take away the private rights of the local population. And therefore, in our opinion, settlements are not illegitimate. There's one other point. The issue of settlements is a negotiating issue. The Palestinians have agreed with the Israelis that the issue of settlements is one of the issues on the permanent status negotiating table. And therefore, anybody that comes along and claims that Israel's settlements are illegitimate, whether it's the EU, whether it's individual governments, whether it's the Secretary of State of the United States who said so specifically, or the spokesman of the State Department, they're prejudging a negotiating issue which is clearly incompatible with any negotiating principle. These are issues that have to be negotiated between Israel and the Palestinians. Therefore, nobody can claim that they're illegitimate, and nobody can claim that they're illegal as such. They have to be negotiated between the parties. There's no such thing as 1967 borders. A border is a line between two sovereign entities. In 1967, there was a ceasefire line that had existed since the 1947-1948 war between the Arab states and Israel, after Israel declared its independence. The Jordanians insisted on inserting in the Armistice Agreement of 1949 a provision which says that the armistice demarcation line is not a final border. Final borders can only be determined in peace negotiations between the parties. So the term 1967 borders is a non-existent term, and anybody using this term, again, including the US administration and the EU, are simply being misled.